faith without righteousness, or I can say it this way, faith without works is dead.
Amen, brother. Mm-hmm.
Faith without righteousness is not faith at all. Not the faith of God. Not the faith that justifies. Not the faith that makes us right in the sight of God. Because righteousness reveals the offering. Righteousness reveals the sacrifice. Righteousness reveals the judgment. When they brought an animal before the law, when they brought that animal, the animal was to be slain. That's a judgment on sin. Okay, let's go back to Cain and Abel. Cain's Abel, he what? Cain's offering, God did what? He rejected it. Abel's, he received. He told Cain, if you do what was required, if you do what's required, yours will be accepted. He refused to do it. Abel brings something. Abel brings an offering, an animal. If there's an animal being slaughtered, it's because of sin. And we see under the old covenant, they had different ceremonies with blood and washings and baptisms. They had all kind of things, but all that stuff point to Christ. So with Cain and Abel, Abel's blood speaks from the ground. What? Revenge, justice. His blood speaks justice. Jesus' blood did not speak what Abel's blood spoke. If Jesus' blood was spoke justice, we would be here today. we wouldn't have been born because they would have been consumed. It'd have been over. But Abel's blood spoke justice. Jesus' blood spoke what?
Mercy.
Mercy. Grace.
Amen. Victory.
It's all. I mean, can you imagine? He's walking on earth knowing the blood that's in my veins. It's getting ready to set you out free and you don't even know it.
I know. I feel it.
My.
I feel it.
Jesus walking. You know, they're trying to kill him, but he slips away here and there. No, not my time. But that time is going to happen. That the blood is going to be accepted on your behalf. Wow. Let's continue this for a moment. So Abraham is the spiritual father of those who have faith but have not been circumcised. They are counted as righteous because of their faith, Abraham is also the spiritual father of those who have been circumcised, but only if they have the same kind of faith Abraham had before he was circumcised. Only if they have the same kind of faith that Abraham had before. Abraham had a righteousness of faith. If you go back to verse number 9.
It says, does this blessedness then come upon the circumcised only, or upon the uncircumcised also? For we say that faith was accounted to Abraham for righteousness. Keep going.
Hold right there. Faith was counted to him unto righteousness. Okay, yeah, keep going.
Okay.
10.
How then was it accounted? Well, he was circumcised or uncircumcised. Not while circumcised, but while uncircumcised. And he received the sign of circumcision.
Okay, so again, how was his faith counted righteous? Because the argument was, they're arguing about where this righteousness is coming from. The Jews are saying because he was circumcised, and he's telling them no, he was righteous before he was circumcised.
Because of his faith.
Yeah, because of his faith. Now, again, this is not the faith that how much I believe. Even though he believed in God, but God does something that caused Abraham to believe. God does something to cause Abraham to believe. He promised him something, number one, but that didn't come right away. But the other things Abraham is experiencing with God,
Relationship.
that Abraham has faith that reveals a righteousness and makes him right with God. So what God is showing Abraham that he would count his faith as righteous.
Powering off.
He's not counting Abraham's faith righteous because Abraham's good. Abraham does something right. But God does something that Abraham has a faith that God credited as righteousness. You're right with me. The promise that he would be the heir of the world. This is where I want to tie this heir in. Talking about we're the heir of righteousness. For the promise that he would be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. Okay, let's read that again. The promise that he would be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law. So this takes care of those who are under the law, because Paul himself was under the law, with Moses. All that was going on. So he's making a distinction here to let them know that, listen, Abraham's faith did not come from the law. The righteousness that Abraham walked in did not come from the law. So he says, for the promise that he would be heir.
Came from the relationship.
The promise that he would become heir. The promise that he would become heir came from the righteousness of faith. The promise that he would be an heir came from the righteousness of faith. Listen, Abraham is not going to have a son in sin.
Amen.
You see what I'm saying? Because God is doing something that is right in his own sight. Abraham, the promise came through the righteousness of faith. In other